Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Build Value by Choice. I am your host, Nana Bonsu, President and CEO of Infinite Horizons Incorporated. We are a business owner education and coaching organization that helps you increase the value of your company while decoupling the owner from being dependent on the business or the owner being dependent on them. This week we have on a guest who's the author of a book called Self-Esteem Regime. And I am going to take a minute to talk about her. Her name is Clarissa Burt. And Clarissa brings her expertise and quick wit to any show. It's a quote that was recently written about her for her new book on Barnes & Noble. So a little bit about her. Recently, she was knighted by the Royal Order of Constantine the Great and St. Helen, joining the ranks of about 350 dames worldwide. Clarissa is an internationally acclaimed award-winning media personality, producer, director, writer, author, public speaker, and former supermodel, and winner of the Celebrity Survivor show. With hundreds of television and film credits to her name, this who's who of international and American women fame brings over 35 years of entertainment industry experience in both international and American markets. She is the founder and CEO of In the Limelight Media, which is a multimedia platform consisting of TV, video, a podcast, and digital magazine. She was also a former ambassador to the United States, and she actively helped African women win the Nobel Peace Prize in 2011. So she has a ton of accomplishments, and it would take me all day to talk about it. But today I want to talk about her best-selling book entitled The Self-Esteem Regime that was published in last year. So welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hi, thank you so much. This is really great. Yeah, the book came out 6 months ago, and I have to say it's been really exciting because we've got, well, first of all, here it is. It's a lovely book, and I'm really happy with it because it is in Barnes & Noble. So I get to go around the country now with book signings, and I've been to about 7 different states in the last 6 months. Signing books and meeting people, and it's been really, really a great let me just say great accomplishment, because it's something that's been on my vision board for a very long time. And when you really want something badly enough, there you go, and it happens. It just is the coolest thing ever.
Right, congratulations. I mean, that's an amazing achievement to put your heart and soul into that book. So can you tell us a little bit, just give us an overview of what the book is about for people that may not have read it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talk about obviously self-esteem, and one of the most important things that I think can happen to all of us and should happen to all of us is that we live in happy, healthy self-esteem. When your feet hit the ground in the morning, if you're not feeling good about yourself, you're not going to have the greatest relationship with yourself, and certainly not with others. So this is something that has been a book that I've been wanting to write for a very long time. And there were some common denominators that I was aware of as I was growing up. My mother was a beautiful, beautiful woman, but don't take a picture of me because it's, I don't come out good in pictures, and all of this silliness. And, I thought, well, that's interesting. Okay. My grandmother, another beautiful woman, lovely woman. I love my grandmother dearly. And so she decided one day, she had to lose some weight. She didn't. No, she didn't. She did not have to lose weight, but she decided to take 2 diet pills one day. And those diet pills she choked on. They perforated her esophagus, and she wound up in the hospital for 6 months. And I really thought, well, gee, Grandma, that was, I'm so glad you're still with us, but that was kind of silly because you're so beautiful. My perception of you is obviously very different than your perception of you. Then I moved on, and I was able to work with some of the most beautiful creatures on the planet when I was modeling around the world. And some of these girls really also, it was very clear that they had some problems, and they were in toxic relationships, or potentially they were, heavy into drinking or drugs. Not all of them, but some. And I'd look at them and say, gee, she's got everything going for her. She's such a lovely girl. I wonder why she's doing that to herself. And I realized that there was a common denominator, obviously, was, low self-esteem and a very low sense of self. So I realized that that was something that really touched me. I want to be a cheerleader for all men and women, by the way. The book is not only written for women. It's, when I first got the copy of this book, Nana, the book was pink and yellow and orange. So
Right.
there are three different colors. You'll see there are three different colors, right?
Yeah.
There were pink
Mhm.
and yellow and orange. And I looked at it and I went, well, that's okay, but no man's ever going to pick that up. So I thought the blues worked out beautifully because it's a very calming and soothing color, but at the same time, it really invites men. And men have had some of the greatest comments about the work that they're doing in the book and how it's really changing their lives for the better. So I knew all along that I wanted to write this book. The book is here. It's been out for 6 months. It is in Barnes and Noble, and I'm absolutely enjoying every minute of it.
What surprised you the most about your men fans then who picked up the book, and what interesting perspective did they bring that you hadn't even kind of considered?
Well, there was an event that I was at, and they gave away my books at the event. And this one gentleman had the book on a tray. He was flying back from the event. He was on the plane, and the book was on the tray on the plane. And he took a picture of the book, and it was also going out the window. You know, you could see outside the window, and it was graphically a very beautiful picture. But he was so complimentary about, you know, guys, I'm reading this book and it's really amazing. And don't ever think that, you know, self-esteem is only a woman's issue. It's definitely, we all suffer with this. And, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. And Clarissa has made this regime, which, by the way, is if you look it up, it's an organized way of doing things. So a regime is, you know, I've organized it so that it starts, Nana, with release.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to release? What do we need to let go of? What is it that we need to unlearn? All of those things that are holding us back. And it ends with the 12th chapter being reciprocal. And reciprocity is something that we all need to get a little bit better at, because some of us are very good at giving, but not so good at receiving. And that's not fair. It's not fair to you. And it's not fair to the person that's trying so desperately to give to you. That was the toughest one for me to learn. People would say to me, you know, Clarissa, it's really hard to do anything for you or to give anything to you, because it seems to us like you have everything and you do everything. And I would sometimes be a little bit angry, because I think to myself, gee, I do all this stuff and I never get anything back. And someone said to me, it's because you make it difficult to give to you. Well, that was so eye-opening, right?
Right.
So where are you caught up in all of that as well? So each chapter, as you can well see, these are things that we need to work on that we knew were issues. And then as you go through the book, you're going to find that you had issues that you didn't know you had, that if you know, when you do the work, obviously, will become a non-issue, right? So the idea is to live in happy health, as a healthy self-esteem. It is to be, for me, I like to be a better person tomorrow than I am today. And I don't know what that means, Nana. Sometimes it doesn't always necessarily mean broad stroke things that we have to do. You know, self-esteem 101, do something good for someone else. It's going to make them feel good, and it's going to make you feel good. And some people think, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't have that money so much money to tithe at church. And I really don't, you know, I've got to be careful. And I want to do more, you know, they get all in their head about giving. And giving is something that is so simple. It could be, golly, it could be a smile. It could be a compliment. It could be holding the elevator door open for someone, just a kind gesture. Help the lady down the stairs with the baby carriage, or whatever it is. When you know you've done something good for someone, as big or as small as it is, you're going to feel so much better. And again, so are they.
And you don't have to compare what, your level of giving to somebody else's. Right?
Absolutely not.
I know one of the things that I came to, one of the times I came to the realization of, well, I guess one of many, but in school, like, somebody will give me a compliment and I'll turn right back and I'll write around and say, oh, you too, or just, it's almost like I'm trying to, like, toss it back to them again. And somebody was like, you just need to say thank you. You don't have to feel like you don't, it's almost like you don't deserve it or something, right?
It doesn't have to become a dissertation,
Right.
Sometimes it's just as, oh, thank you.
Right.
Oh, I really liked it too. I bought this, whatever. I bought this last month at Dillard's, and it really caught my eye too. So thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not conceited. It's not narcissistic. It's just a simple statement. And it's a thank you, a simple accept it, take in a deep breath, and then thank somebody, because it may continue to feel uncomfortable for a while.
Right.
In the book, we talk a lot about mirror work, mirror therapy. And when you can start to, and I know it looks weird and it feels weird and it sounds weird and everybody has difficulty with it, but it's probably the most impactful exercise in the book. And that's when you talk to yourself, when you give yourself all of the greatness, all of the compliments, all of the emboldening statements that you wish maybe others were giving you, but they're not. When you can take care of business and just go right to the mirror and do it for yourself, it's a really, really empowering and impactful way of bringing yourself up, of pulling yourself up, of believing in yourself, of telling yourself you love you. That's a big one. You say, I really am proud of you. I love what you do. That was so amazing what you did today. Can't wait for tomorrow. You're looking really good. Whatever it is, there's nothing wrong with telling yourself these things. We are so caught up in negative self-talk that we very rarely, and if you keep the negative, deeper and darker you go, and not refill that with some good stuff, you're going to stay in the abyss of pretty much darkness. Let's bring some light into the situation, and you can be the first light bearer.
So one of the things, as you mentioned, one of the things that popped in my head is, so if you have a spouse, a partner who's, engages in a lot of self-talk, and obviously, feel like you're a professional therapist, who can give a professional opinion, and they're also going to be sensitive, right, to the person's kind of thing. But on the other hand, maybe the person is kind of bringing you down, right? It may be a spouse, it may be a partner, a business partner, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of, what are some of the things you can, share about how to deal with those kind of situations to prevent it from being toxic? Or if you can bring that person out, at least prevent them from taking you down with it.
Right. Well, that's exactly right. So what you're going to want to do is to, first of all, get locked and loaded on your clarity. Go through the book. If it's not my book, make sure that you are always in a personal growth space. You can find books, you can find courses, you can listen to videos on YouTube. Keep yourself in perpetual motion and moving in the correct direction for you. There are going to be relationships in your life. It could be the natal tribe, it could be friends, it could be, your people that you meet, in your educational institutions. These are all formative for us, right? Mm-hmm. So as you grow, you will encounter, I don't want to call it loss, but you will learn that some people will fall away. They will fall away because they are no longer at your same vibrational energy, right? As you grow and you are bigger, better, stronger, bolder, and living in your own truth, other people may not keep up, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. What you will learn as you grow is that you will learn to love them where they're at. And once you're able to come from a place of, I don't want to say teaching, but certainly not preaching, but sharing what it is that is working for you and how cool it is, and start sharing some of the information that you have with them. Start bringing them in slowly. Start showing them when they start to see how amazing your life is becoming, how much lighter you are, how much happier you are, how much more accepting you are, how much more giving you are. They're going to want a piece of that. They're going to want to feel that way too. I'm going to suggest that they are going to want a part of that too. There may be relationships in our lives, Nana, that we just have to cut. Yeah. And I know that's hard, and I know it's painful, and I know nobody wants to hear that. But in order for you to live in your truth, in order for you to continue on your path, in order for you to be able to be your best self, so you are going to have to make painful decisions. So get ready for that. because the work that's in my book is life-changing, life-altering, but it is not, I am not saying I'm promising a rose garden.
Yeah, so I mean, like, as far as getting the book, what is the what should people expect? And how should they set their expectations in terms of the transformation process? Right, because it's not like you get to the last page of the book and boom, you're transformed.
Right.
And how patient should they be as they go through the process? Because I imagine it's going to be some emotional kind of challenges, difficulties while as you continue to kind of change incrementally.
Well, first of all, if you have the book, a big congratulations, because it means that you want to do the work, that there is work to be done, and that you are willing to accept the fact that you are ready to make some major changes in your life. You don't pick up a personal growth book just to, as a beach read. Right? It's not a summer beach read. I mean, you can read it on the beach if you'd like, but it's not a romance novel, right? This is the kind of read, and I call it a manual, a mission, and a movement. Mm-hmm. So for me, to see everyone living in happy, healthy self-esteem is really important, because can you imagine if we all were, right, as they say, rising waters raises all ships. Mm-hmm. If we were all vibrating at a higher level, if we were all coming together to live our greater good, if we all decided we wanted to be a better person tomorrow than we are today, and it could be anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be, tomorrow I decided, I want to pay a little bit more attention to getting out and working out, taking my vitamins, drinking more water, reading an extra chapter, whatever that is, whatever it is that's feeding you, that's feeding your brain and feeding your soul and your body as well. These are the kinds of things that you're going to want to be mindful of. This is a book that, first of all, again, congratulations, but you're going to be doing the work. And when we start out, first we start out with the release, as I had said before. The second chapter is rebuild. The other thing that I do want to say about a book like mine is that this is not a one-time read, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. Okay, everybody's going to have a different experience, and you will have a totally different experience 6 months from now when you read it again than you will when you read it today. Right? Because you are going to get the messages that resonate with what you need to know now. What do you need to know now? What is it that you need to work on? And that's what's going to jump off the page. I've read books before, and I'm sure you have too, and you'll go back and read it again and say, gee, I don't remember that being there the first time I read it. It's because you weren't ready for it. You were distracted. Something else was happening. Something in the universe or in the air or in the energy or the vibration knew you weren't ready for that message at that time. So when you read it a second time, you're going to be able to go, oh, okay, gosh, I didn't see that the first time, but it does resonate with me in a bigger way right now. It's one of those kinds of books that it's kind of magical in that way. And people have told me that as well. Some people are saying it's changing their lives. Other people are, just loving the work that is, and we have the Clarion Call, we've got Clarissa's Corner, we've got reviews, there's homework, there's journaling, again, the mirror work. This is going to be, this is a really different kind of workbook because it's also kind of a playbook. It's as much work as it is play, but do know that it's the decisions and the choices that you will make for your greater good are not always going to be easy, but boy, I'll tell you, once you make them, life is going to be a much better place for you to be.
What about folks that may have grown up in a tough environment and doesn't seem to be any kind of good role models?
Yep.
What advice do you have for them as far as how do they, and one of the challenges I tend to come across, I hear a lot, is a lack of support, a lack of access to the right kind of network.
Right.
Because, the people around you, which is why you had mentioned sometimes you have to kind of let some relationships go so that you can kind of be in the right kind of frame of mind and whatnot. What advice do you have for people who say they don't have the support, they grew up in the wrong environment and they're going to have to live with it the rest of their lives?
Right. Well, first of all, there are a couple of different ways of approaching that. First thing I want to say is you can either give up, you can give in, or you can give it all you got. Difficult environments don't necessarily mean that you came from a bad neighborhood. A difficult environment can be you're living in Hollywood or Beverly Hills and there's domestic violence going on in the house. So difficult environment means different things to different people. The difficult environment is, I believe, has been put there so that it builds your character. Are you going to sit in that? Are you going to sit in that difficult environment? Are you going to want to stay in that difficult environment? Are you going to learn only from that difficult environment? Are you going to be the reason that the cancer continues? Are you going to be the reason that the toxicity exists and persists? Are you going to be the reason that it all stops here?
So
Okay.
that's requires some kind of courage to want to do better.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of courage involved. And that's I think it's a really great word to use. We use fear because, fear is like, oh, fear, or we're afraid of failure. Well, failure is another really great word that I love to embrace, because failure, if you want to break it down, and I love doing it this way, is your first attempt in learning. Your first attempt in learning. So don't be afraid to fail. Continue to do so until you're that much closer to your success. But difficult environments, I believe, bring out the worst in some people. And I do believe that those that really want to make a change in their life, that know that there's a better way, can find support groups outside of the difficult environment. Because with the internet now, we have all kinds of ways that we can go. Meetups and meet and greets, and all you have to do is just say, personal growth, whatever it is you want to be out of, get yourself out of it. And again, courage, not going to be easy. Not going to be a walk in the park, but there's definitely a way for you to get out. And I use when I go on stages and I speak, I think that I start out with kind of difficulty in my childhood, and people don't expect it. They don't expect that I'm going to tell the story that I tell. So they kind of look at me, they go, wow, and you had all of that success, and you've had this, and you've done this, and all of the other one. Yeah, but it all started there, and it formed me. I don't know, Nana, that I could be the woman that I am today had I not gone through the difficult times, because the difficult times are the ones that teach you, they train you, they form you, they give you a really clear idea as to what you will and will not accept from your life or in your life. So boundaries, there you go. You create your boundaries as you go. You tell people exactly how you will and will not be treated. And boundaries is another huge thing we work on in the book.
What are some other things that people with higher self-esteem do differently from people with low self-esteem?
They know their value system. Okay, so know your values, know exactly what they are, know exactly what they mean, know exactly how you're going to be using them in your life. What is important to you? Why is it important to you? And is it serving yourself and others? We're not in this alone. And some of the greatest self-esteem work that we can do is obviously it's for ourselves, don't get me wrong, but it certainly is for others, right? Your value system is something that is your blueprint. It's that one thing that you will not waver from. So get it really clear, get it really strong, get it, write it down, put it up in front of you, read it constantly to remind yourself that there are things that you will or will not accept, things that you will or will not waver from, and what exactly they are. I think that if you continue to prove to yourself that you walk the walk, that you talk the talk, that you set up your boundaries, that and by the way, boundaries don't mean, I had to get angry and I screamed and no. A boundary is something that you set up, that you do with ease, joy, and glory. You know that it's something that serves you best, and you actually teach, you train others, if you will. You suggest in a very strong way at times, if you have to, what a boundary is, what you will and will not accept. Hey, it really, can I talk to you a second? It really kind of hurt me the way you said that, or the tone that you used, or the words that you used. and it kind of made me feel like this. Can we work on that? And can we not do that? Oh, gee, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize. I'm terribly sorry. Absolutely no problem. That was a boundary being set, right? It was an ask,
Yeah.
and it was a boundary.
That's great. What are some of the things that, advice you have for employers as far as building an environment in the workplace, a culture that fosters higher self-esteem?
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody wants to be noticed. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody wants to feel like they're a part. That's the part of the human condition, So leadership is probably one of the most difficult and loneliest places that you can be, because the buck will always stop with you. You're always going to have that, ultimately the responsibility for your team. And most definitely, you're probably responding or, answering to someone higher up. So be really mindful that to create a good, happy, healthy self-esteem within your team, you're going to be able to want to always direct them into the proper direction, again, with ease, joy, and glory. You don't want to ever, the whole raising your voice thing and, coming down hard on people, that's passé. That's the way we used to interact in the past. People really want to know that they are, appreciated, that they're valued, that whatever they're doing. And, I have people that I work with as well. And when they fall short sometimes, they don't hit the mark, they don't understand, offer yourself again. Okay, do we need to do another Zoom call? Can I, what can I do to help you understand? Now, I did this yesterday. I was on a Zoom call with for an hour, explained everything beautifully. I said, do you understand everything? Is it clear? Okay, cool, great. All right, let me know I'm here if you need me. 10 minutes later, it was, so let me get this clear. Let me be really, okay, now, did you say, okay, so I then said, well, what was it that I did or said or didn't say that wasn't clear? Or did I get deer in the headlights because it might have been too much? So, we also have to take into consideration, we as leaders, and then leadership role, where are we? Are they, where are they in their learning and intake process? So I made sure that I understood and made her understand exactly how much I appreciated the work she's doing. And then when she's doing the work well, I'm always there to say, great job. You've done an amazing job. When she needs help, and we all need help from time to time, I'm there for her. It's a little frustrating. I'm not going to lie. It's like, oh God, I don't have the time for this, but I had the time for this. I made the time for this because she's only going to be more appreciative of it on the other end. She knows I'm there for her and she's there for me. It's reciprocal. And again, it's reciprocal.
So like in maybe a minute and a half, because we're getting ready to wrap in about a minute and a half. Can you talk about the 4 pillars again in your book?
I will. The 4 pillars are look good, feel good, be good, and greater good. So look good, we know what that means. Everybody is pretty much, when you're looking good, you know how that is. I'm sorry. You know how that is when you're looking good, boom, you're feeling great. And that's always a kind of something, puts you a lilt in your step. Second thing is feel good, diet, exercise, nutrition. Make sure you're taking care of this, because if something happens to you, especially entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, people in leadership positions, when something happens to you, it all, the whole darn tower comes tumbling down. It's just, you got to make sure you're taking good care of you. Look good, feel good, be good. Be good is keep it up. Your education. What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? How are you ingesting? What are you believing? What are you discarding? In other words, be always mindful to be keeping what's good, what's working, and what is truth for you in moving in a positive direction. And greater good is volunteering, paying it back, paying it forward, tithing, doing the right thing. That's really, really important. And then I'll leave you with this. A lot of people you hear say, I am enough. You are enough. We are enough. Everybody's enough. But when you look up the definition of enough, it's only as much as is required. So I don't know about you, Nana. I know about me, and I know I am so much more than enough.
Oh yeah. That's just like,
aren't we all so much more than enough? So be really careful and mindful of the words that we're using, the words that we're saying to ourselves, how we're talking to ourselves, how we're speaking to ourselves. It's that important.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. How can people get in contact with you if they want to work with you or follow your work?
Thank you. Yeah, just Clarissa Burt on social, pretty much anywhere. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I'm pretty much everywhere. I'm not on Snapchat, but you can find me everywhere else. Clarissa Burt.
Yeah. And we're going to have all that information in the short notes for people that may be driving and don't have access to something
Thank
to write
you.
down. So
Thank you, Nana. It's been great. Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
All right, then. Talk to you soon.
Bye
Bye
now.
for now.
Bye.